80 and 55 roll with the complimentary plays in all sports here on the Video Report. And I've got a number of them for your Saturday college card, including Michigan and Minnesota coming up. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager at DeMarcoSports.com. Let me just remind you, for no other reason than to be aware of when I'm going to have the video reports available. It would help you to probably subscribe to the channel. I generally try to have these college football video reports available no later than Thursday, but let's be honest. I've got leukemia, I'm undergoing treatments, and this is one of those weeks where, for example, where the treatment has just kicked my ass. And you're lucky you're getting a video report at all here at Friday night at almost 10 p.m. Eastern because, yeah, it was hard enough just staying awake long enough to handicap the card, let alone shooting a video. So, again, just to be made aware, if you want to subscribe. The other thing is I've opened up the comments here on the channel, and I think it's kind of a cool thing if you'd like to leave your picks so everybody else can kind of get a sense of what you, the gambling community, because you have an opinion too, what you like, and I will try my best to respond and give you my thoughts on your selections too. Again, this may be a week where I might not be doing too many responses because I feel lousy, and I can't wait to have another treatment Monday over at Ohio State. Yes, woo, looking forward to that. But anyway, we motor on, and let's get down to all these complimentary plays for you. Let's start with the game between Michigan and Minnesota. Michigan is an 18.5-point favorite. This game kicks off at 7:30 Eastern Time on Saturday night. And I got to tell you something. I would not be surprised if this line moves up in favor of the Wolverines. And generally, as I always say, 99% of the time you bet the favorites early and the underdogs late, because the betting public gravitates towards the chalks anyway. And in highly visible games such as this one, why would you not think that this line would escalate? Now, Michigan is undefeated, and they are head and shoulders better than Minnesota. You've got a Michigan team whose defense has only allowed a total of 30 points and 3 touchdowns during the undefeated start. A team that is allowing only an average of 245.8 yards per game. That's number 4 in the nation. You know, what I say about the Wolverines is they have won efficiently, nothing flashy, but they end up steamrolling their opponents. Now, the first 3 games of the season, when Harbaugh was suspended, you know, they played Little Sisters of the Poor, and they didn't really look that well. They really put it all together, however, last week in hammering Nebraska, which is a pretty easy thing to do, but they rolled 45-7. And after really slumming it against East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green, and Rutgers, winning those games only by margins of 27, 28, 25, and 24. It was nice to see them getting the job done. Offensively, J.J. McCarthy completing 79% of his passes, 10 touchdowns already, leading the nation in QBR at 94.2. And you've got the running backs. Blake Corum hasn't had that big explosive... Oops. Knocked the camera over. You haven't seen him have that big explosive game as he did last year as he recovers from the knee injury, but he has a reduced workload. His biggest number of carries in a single game so far has been 21. Now, Donovan Edwards has certainly gotten off to a slow start. And remember, he was like running back 1A last year. He's only averaging 3.3 yards per carry, but Corum, 425 yards, 5.7 yards a pop. This Minnesota offense hasn't shown me anything. The Minnesota defense hasn't shown me much. This is a Minnesota team that was lucky to beat UL Lafayette last week, 35-24, after blowing the lead and losing at Northwestern the week prior, 37-34. I'm going to go with Michigan, and I'm going to lay the 18.5 points in this spot. Quick FYI, I'm often asked, who has the big play at the site? Well, if you go to the site, DeMarcoSports.com, you can see it there at the bottom of the screen. The guy that I used to do the college football show last year with, Rick Torino, his 100 dime all-in max wagers in college football, 12-4 with them last year, had one this year. It was Air Force at San Jose 2 Fridays ago, won that play. So 13-4 the past 2 years. Has his first one going this season or his second one going this year. So 13-4 the past 2 years. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is the big featured play for Saturday's card from the guy who has been number one in terms of big college football plays. In fact, his major releases in college football over the past 2 seasons combined since he joined the site are a combined 15 and 4. 15 and 4, which ain't too shabby any way you slice it. So, Rick Torino would be that play, and he'll be over half price off over at DeMarcosports.com, because I always have believed that you don't have to pay big money to make big money. Because after all, this is gambling. It's supposed to be fun. You don't have to go mortgage the house 3 times over in order to make some money. Okay, let's get to your next complimentary play. I'm looking at the game between Miami of Florida and Georgia Tech. And it's a game that I considered using, but I'm just a little worried because of the weather situation here in South Florida. Scattered thunderstorms throughout the day, light rain throughout this game, which starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Probably going to get about a half-inch of rain. Hard Rock Stadium there in Miami, Bermuda grass, so it's a natural field surface. And I'm also a little worried about Miami of Florida possibly having look-ahead games with UNC and Clemson coming up. But Miami, Florida is coming off the bye. They're undefeated, 4-0, 3-1 against the spread. But listen, the only game they didn't cover was when they were laying like 158 points against Bethune-Cookman, okay? Everybody else they covered against. Tyler Van Dyke has regained his form from a couple of seasons ago, completing 75% of his passes, 11 touchdowns. The run game has gotten off to a great start, at least 240 yards rushing in 3 of the 4 games. The only one they didn't was in College Station against Texas A&M, and in that one, they threw the ball at will. But overall, the ground game has averaged over 6.4 yards per carry. True, they haven't played anybody other than Texas A&M. I will grant you that. But look at what Georgia Tech has done. I mean, last week they lost at home, laying 3 touchdowns to Bowling Green, 38-27, a game that they were up 14-0 earlier. And after the game, their head coach demoted their defensive coordinator to secondaries coach and promoted the secondaries coach to new defensive coordinator. That tells you that team has some big problems defensively. And the number one issue is they can't stop the run. First road game this season, they lost 48-23 at Ole Miss. Their second, they beat average to mediocre Wake Forest team 30-16. Now, Haynes King has played well, 65% completions, 15 touchdowns, but he hasn't really placed any quality competition. He hasn't faced a front 7 like he's going to face in the Hurricanes today. And that Tech defense, again, allowing 224 yards per game on the ground, 5.3 yards per carry. I think Miami's just going to run wild and control the clock here. So I like Miami laying the 3 touchdowns in this spot. So that's a strong play as well. Your next complimentary play, we move to the earlier card. I'm going to go with Army, -2.5 at home at noon against Boston College. Again, West Point, New York. It's going to be raining. It's going to be windy. I mean, you're probably going to get a half-inch of rain during this contest as well. Boston College playing for the 6th straight week. Army, meanwhile, coming off a bye and getting healthier as well. Army has covered its last 5 games at home. They've been idle since that 29-16 loss at Syracuse a couple of weeks ago. But remember, the first half of that game, it was competitive until the Orange broke free in the second half. Prior week, they won 37-29 at Texas San Antonio. True, Frank Harris, the quarterback for Texas San Antonio, who's been playing for the Roadrunners for at least 12 or 13 years in a row. He did not play in that game because of injury, but that was still an impressive performance by Army. Boston College is coming off a 27-24 home win against Virginia, a game in which they trailed by 2 touchdowns at halftime, but you know how bad the Cavaliers are at home. The prior week, they lost 56-28 at Louisville. Now, some will say, including me, who went against them that week as a complimentary play, that it was a letdown after they blew a chance to upset Florida State at home, losing that game 31-29. But still, this is a team that is 1-4. They barely beat Patriot League's Holy Cross, for Christ's sake. That's an interesting way to phrase it, huh? But anyway, I like Army in this one, and especially with the inclement weather. I think that's a good spot to play the Golden Knights. And your final play, I I bounce back and forth between these two, but I'm going to go with Wisconsin. Minus the 13 at Camp Randall here against Rutgers. And FYI, by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention before I get into my analysis of this game. As for me, I've got football winner number 13 out of 18. I've had two 20-dime releases this season. That's my second highest rated play. The first one was Syracuse clobbering Central Michigan back on September 9th. The second one was last Friday, Oregon State minus 4 by 14 over Utah. My third play of the year, a 20-dime release, goes. It's my road route of the season. And you can get it for half price off as well by using coupon code HALF. Yes, HALF. Very, very creative coupon code, don't you believe? Or you can take advantage and get all the plays of all the handicappers, including mine, if you've never done so before, by using the 2-day free all-access pass. Regular price today is $109. If you've never taken advantage of it before, you get my plays, all the plays of all the handicappers, including Rick Torino's, for free. Not only today, but you pick another day as well. Your choice. Again, if you've never taken advantage of it, you get all the plays of all the handicappers for free. The only way you lose is if you don't take advantage of that free offer. Now, why am I taking Wisconsin even though Rutgers has been playing so well? Because who has Rutgers played? That is my question for you. And you think about it. This isn't Temple. This isn't Wagner. I mean, who the hell has Rutgers played? Their only road game this year, they went to Ann Arbor, and how did that turn out? Not too well for the Scarlet Knights. Now, true, Greg Schiano is doing a great job, and he's turning around this program. Wisconsin has looked iffy, right, this season, but I thought they played perhaps their best game prior to their bye in their last outing, and I think they build on the momentum in this spot here, and I think the price is reasonable here, minus 13 in Luke Fickell's Big Ten opener at home, coming off the bye. Won at Purdue, 38-17, 2 Fridays ago. And I think in this spot, especially with the way the offense seemed to finally gel against the Boilermakers, a game in which they hit 12 of 18 on third down conversions. Remember, Tanner Mordecai, who transferred, of course, from SMU, it's taken him a little while to adapt to Phil Longo, who came from North Carolina, the new offensive coordinator. It seems it's just taken a little bit, as I said, for them to all gel together offensively. Now, they did lose their second best running back, so that certainly hurts, but they still have Braylon Allen there, who has accounted for 46% of their rushing yards this season with 371. And again, Rutgers 4-1 start. They haven't really played anybody. And I go back to that loss at Michigan, where they were outgained 415 to 257, where the Wolverines ran for 201 yards and averaged 5 yards per carry, where the Wolverines defense held Rutgers, a team that runs first and has to move the chains on the ground, was held to 77 yards on the ground and 3.3 yards per carry. Now, I'm not saying that Wisconsin's run defense is as good as it has been in past years or even in the category of Michigan's. But I do believe they will be able to at least limit the yardage that Rutgers is going to be able to get on the ground. And Rutgers does not throw the ball well enough to stay competitive. I think it will be a close game in the first half, but I do think Wisconsin can pull away. If this line was 17, I would be on Rutgers. But at 13, I think it's a manageable number, and I like Wisconsin in this spot. Now, it's time to rate the plays, right, in terms of ranking. I mean, remember, as I always say about complimentary plays, these are the best of the worst. Plays that I considered using as my best bet today, but for one reason or another, I relegated them to complimentary selections, right? So I would say Michigan would be number 1. I would say Wisconsin would be number 2. I would say, boy, this is a tough one here. Miami, Florida would be number 3. And then I would relegate Army to number 4. Again, Michigan number 1, Wisconsin number 2, Miami, Florida number 3, and Army number 4. So that'll do it for today's video, and I will see you on the flip side when I get around to recording your Sunday video report. Good luck, everybody. Hope you all make money. And again, if you want to leave your picks down in the comments section, I will try to comment on them and tell you what I think of your selections. And best of luck. Talk to you again very soon. Good luck, everybody.